Purusharishaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamritavarshinim Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvamanusandathami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshinim Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullaravindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraika Panaye Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya Gitamrita Duhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Dugdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahata Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Hari Om. All right. Hari Om. Thank you so much for that warm welcome and a hearty welcome to everyone who's come out for satsang tonight on Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a discussion, a dialogue. Wrong, that's not correct. It is a teaching, an upadesh, divine teaching from Bhagavan Shri Krishna to Arjuna. So these are the two characters. There are more characters, but these are the two main you need to know about right now. And Bhagavan Shri Krishna is talking or Arjuna is talking? Who's giving upadesh to who? Shri Krishna is giving the upadesh. He's giving the teaching. Somebody said, what does it matter? Well, what matters is the teaching. It doesn't matter who's speaking. Well, in a way that is right. It doesn't matter who says a good thing. A good thing is a good thing. But in the case of Bhagavad Gita, the fact that it is the Lord of the universe speaking means that what you're hearing, it can be said like this. This is the one who made your mind. This is the one who made the law of karma. This is the one from whom the universe manifested. That one who made all things is now talking about all the things that are going on. It's authoritative, in other words. Authoritative message is coming your way. Yes. So, what exactly is happening here now in the 18th chapter, the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Well, it began with a question from Arjuna to Lord Krishna, asking him to explain two words. Right? Easy, that's not hard, like you do all the time. You ask your parents, can you explain this word? Can you explain that word? Bhagavan, you used these two words at very critical points in the Bhagavad Gita. Tyag is the first word, sannyas is the other word. These two words. And these are words for you also, and I, because they will come again and again when you come to satsang. These words, you'll keep hearing them. If you don't hear the word, you'll hear the idea in a different form. So you learn it today, then you have it forever. Anytime you go satsang, oh, that I understand. I learned that from Bhagavad Gita. What are the words? Tyag and sannyas. Now the words both mean the same thing. They both mean renunciation, giving up, dropping, abandoning, letting go. That's what these words mean, right? But Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, I'll make a distinction for you, Arjuna. Tyag is the practice and sannyas is the goal. Tyag is what you can do right from where you are at your stage in life, and doing it well, you will reach the goal. Let's call the goal sannyas. Now the goal in scriptures is always the same. There's only one goal. There's not two goals. If it has different names, it's different names for the same thing. Like, your father has different names. Nah? At work, they call him boss. Right? At temple, they call him Panditji, uncle, whatever, right? At home, mom has different names for him. Some animal names she just uses also. Right? And then you have your own name. So he has different names, but it's one person. So mukti also has different names, looking at it from different views. So mukti, which is the goal in our tradition, mukti means freedom. Hinduism is all about freedom. That is the goal. That is the purpose. As opposed to going to heaven. That's different. Sound different or not? They're different. Or pleasing God. God, be pleased with me so I can get something. That's also not the goal. The goal is freedom. The goal is not punya karma also. I'll do a good deed. Now I'm a good Hindu. Nah. The goal is freedom. And in every sense of the word, freedom. And finally, it will boil down to freedom from sorrow. If you get every type of freedom and you don't get freedom from sorrow, it amounts like you have no freedom. Have you noticed? If you have a holiday from work, and you have money in the bank, and you have religious freedom to go and express your religion, and you have which was freedom of speech to say whatever you want. So it's a holiday weekend, you can go and do what you want, you can say what you want, you have money to spend and all that. But you get sick. Your throat hurting. Then, do you feel like you're free like anything? No. Because I have a little bondage. I have a little something, a little bit of sorrow in my life. And so any little sorrow, it as though takes away all the freedom. Human being is not satisfied unless they feel fully free, including from birth and death. So, that is the goal, and it is also called sannyas. It is also called renunciation. Wait a minute, how can you say freedom has another name called renunciation, letting go? What is the same about freedom and what is the same about letting go? So this topic is what has come today. We have been studying the first word, tyag, so far over the nights. So I'll tell you briefly. Two words are there. One is the practice and one is the goal. Like one is the bridge to Demerara, that's the practice. You take the bridge and finally you get to West Coast Demerara, that's the goal. So tyag now, the practice, it goes like this. Now tyag has many names. It's called karma yoga. In scriptures, it's called yoga. It's called buddhi yoga. Throughout Bhagavad Gita, many words were used for this thing I'm talking about now, tyag. Little letting goes that you do in life so you can make progress on the path. Holding on to your duty in life and letting go of things that get in the way, like my own personal preferences, likes and dislikes. I may not like to bathe before coming satsang, but the rule is you have to bathe before coming to satsang. So then I find out, oh, well, I'm not going again. Why? 'Cause I don't want that cold water to touch my sweet skin. So I don't like that. So I give up satsang. It should be the other way. When you bathe and dress up, and it's difficult, but finally when you get here and you sit down, you feel nice. And finally we get the prasad, you feel even nicer, right? The prasad. So that was a bit of tyag you performed. Just coming here today, everybody performed tyag. Because there's something else you could be doing, correct? And that something else, maybe your heart loves it, sit in front of the TV. Loves that. But you give up that because you know this other thing is better. So a little giving up is done. So Bhagavan explained, the person who does that sort of giving up of likes and dislikes and adds to it giving up of any what you call anxiety for the fruits of your actions. There's a big thing in Bhagavad Gita. There's a big long phrase. All it means is that, Bhagavan, I'm doing this action. I know a good result will come. I'm coming to satsang. Has sat in the name. Sat means good. So a good result must come. But I'm not going to insist that as a result of doing this, I get something I have in mind. Like, I be recognized when I go. If I go in satsang, but I want something, I want the joy you're going to give me back from this good action, I want it to come in this way, at this time, and with all this exactly. If you don't give it like that, I won't be happy. So Bhagavan said, no. You leave that part to me. I'm the Lord of the universe. You do the good action, and don't insist how it comes. It will come. It's a rule. So you sow, so you reap. So no insistence. Keep your mind where your hands are. And we studied different meanings of that the other day. One thing I wanted to tell you about that. We emphasize very much holding on to duty and giving up other things. Right? And the people, if you try this, you try and lay out in your mind, okay, I am a student, or I am a father, or I am a worker, or whatever. And what are my jobs that I have to do? What is my duty? My job specification? In this stage of life, what do I have to learn? What do I have to do? What do I have to give? Who do I have to... how much do I have to worship the Lord? In which way? And I make it clear in my mind. This is my duty. This is what I have to achieve. Right? Like yesterday we were talking about how in the old days, many people said, in my mind, if I live in an Anakatrana, we have to build a temple before I get old. So that generation, they held hands and they built a temple. So make up your mind, this is my duty in life. I have to offer something to the community, whatever it is. Okay, that part is good. Having done that now, once you're on the path, doing your duty, giving up your likes and dislikes, what happens to the heart is it gets tired. Every day, duty, responsibility, looking to the benefit of others. Man, and I'm the only one doing it. I'm the only one who has come to the temple for service every week. Now and then people just come for festival, and then it's just me again. A tired duty. So you get like that. It's the nature of karma. It wears you out. Well, at those moments, Bhagavan says, this is where the tyag is supposed to give more energy. Now, what was required is a higher level of tyag now. What is that? Well, I learned this nicely from a story. One boy was watching Netflix, and he saw that it was a sitcom about a family. In that family, the children get something called allowance. That is, get paid to do chores. And he was shocked by that. He said, well, my mom does not know about this. I have to bring her up to speed. So what he did is he sat down, started to write. Okay, I just hop out the car and lock the gate. That's one job I have. 200. When I come home, I just wash my plate. 200. And I have to put out the garbage. 200. When I come home, I have to wash and soak the rice and the dal. 200. And all the little chores he has, he writes them down. And then he writes at the top, bill for services. and he left it on his mom's pillow and he gone to sleep. So he didn't have to hear. Let's see what go happen. So he left a bill for his mom on the pillow. Well, next morning he wake up and he gone to school and he come home and he didn't hear anything. He thought maybe she didn't see. So he went to peep in the room, and certainly the bill has moved from the pillow to the side table. I mean, she saw it. She must have seen it. It moved. But she's not saying anything, so he's not saying anything. But he's thinking maybe she could send it in my lunch pack, or all at once or something, right? I could spend it in the cafeteria. So that day, mother had to go out and do something. So she sent him to bed, and she went. When he went up and he looked at his pillow now, he see a next piece of paper on his pillow. What's it write? Bill, same title, bill for services. So the mom write now, okay, 3 meals a day times 365 days times 12 years, like that. Snacks in between. Then helping you learn to walk, helping you learn to read, helping you learn to talk, helping you learn manners. Then helping you with your schoolwork, helping you with your school project, playing with you when nobody would play with you, right? Wiping your tears when you fell down and scraped your knee. And long list, she gave one list like that. And so it has pages. So he's frightened now to see the bottom line. What's the bottom line? At the bottom line, it have a big 0 and a heart. And she wrote, paid in full with my love for you. She wrote that. Now, that boy, when he read that long list, and then he thinking of his mom, and she wrote that, he started crying. She came upstairs and he cried, she started crying. Now, you see that the mother does her duty, not having anything in mind except for let this somehow contribute to the child. So when we sit back and reflect that I would not be here if it were not for the total and utter selfless dedication of my mother, or of my guru, or of my pitras. Unless somebody laid out their life not wanting anything in return, I could not be here the way I am. When you remember that, the fatigue goes down like that. That kind of person who uses their wisdom, their reflection, their memory of what they've been given to get up and do what they have to do, that person is right at the doorstep of moksha. They have actually graduated out already by that from doing what you call ritualistic puja. That kind of mind is graduated from that. And now they're ready for higher things. And that is what's going to come now in this next section. Let me tell you a little bit about that also. And this is all relevant. We're still seeing Bhagavad Gita, although we haven't chanted any verses yet. Every tradition that you have here in Guyana and that we have in the world, like there's a Christian tradition, a Muslim tradition, an atheistic tradition, there's Jewish tradition here in Guyana also? I don't know, but definitely Hindu tradition is there, right? All the different traditions that are there, they have some values, common values amongst themselves, right? Right or wrong? Okay, now, we also have our own. Those values come from where? Well, they'll have some source, a source set of philosophy that makes them believe that thing. Please see this. Every tradition, all the values they have, comes from their philosophy. So too, the Hindu values come from the Hindu metaphysics. You don't need to have any really high-fi philosophy also to come up with values. One day, our Gina ji in Toronto, she had gone to the Ghanaian store. You know, not the Guyanese store, but the Ghanaian store from where they sell all the things from Ghana, right? West Africa, Ghana. And she goes there because she can get some of the things that you can't get at the local store. So on the way out, now checking out, the lady said, "You're vegetarian, right?" She said, yeah, I'm vegetarian. Because she only buying cassava and carnation milk and whatever, right? So then the lady wanted to help Jina ji. And so she offered her a piece of advice. She said, "Don't you know the Lord made this world for you and I to enjoy? Don't you know that?" She means to say, all the animals, they're not here for any other reason except for me to kill and eat. That's why they're here. You don't know that? So she's sharing with Jina ji her philosophy from her tradition. So they also have ahimsa. Man should, in the commandments, man should not kill another man or woman, right? But that only extends to human beings. That doesn't extend to other beings. We also have ahimsa, but it extends to other beings. Because our philosophy is this world not for you and I to enjoy. No. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. This whole universe is Bhagavan. So I should tread lightly on this universe. Give more than I consume. Produce more than I consume. Give more than I take, like that. My point is, based on the philosophy, you get different values. So when people say, all religions are same, all religions have good values, in a way they're a little bit right, but if you just scratch a little bit, you will find they're not same. Even values that look same, like ahimsa, the reason why they practice is different. The reason. So now you're Hindu, I'm Hindu. Where do we get our philosophy from? Where is all your philosophy kept in scriptures? Do you know? It is in the Vedas. The source authoritative book for our whole tradition is the Vedas. Actually, it's called Veda. We add the S's in English thing we add because Veda is one repository of knowledge and it means treasure house of knowledge. Now, the Veda has different sections in it. And one way it is classified is like this. It has 3 sections. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. That's easy. Right? Part 1 is called Karma. Karma Kanda. And that is where you'll find all about how to do Havan and what results you'll get from that Havan. Things everybody wants and things in afterlife also. All kinds of things are there. Okay. The purpose of that section is to, if you follow it, you become somebody whose mind is disciplined, controlled, and who feels that in my life I have an obligation to the rest of the beings around. All this thing comes to your mind. Why? Because if you want any great thing, even for yourself, well, now you have to prepare your mind. You have to live this way, eat this way, do this type of mantra, offer this in dana. You have to do all these disciplines. You have to share with brahmanas and feed these people. You have to do all these things. And then you do the ritual, and then you'll get the result. So the whole set of things you have to do. Now, if somebody does that, they'll get what they want, and along the way they would have disciplined their mind, they would become more healthy, they would have helped out in society. So Karma Kanda is designed like that. It's something like in today's world, they have something, corporate social responsibility, you know that? Means if you're a big oil company, you can't just come and take. You have to have some social responsibility. You have to take care of the people who, the environment. You have to put the environment back the way it was, and you have to keep, in case anything goes wrong, you have to keep a fund to protect, and you have to make sure if you cut down these trees, you plant some trees over there, and anybody who's working for you, have to have pension for them. And so you put some rules on that company so that it doesn't just become a wealth extraction vehicle. In getting its wealth, it also supports, and through that company becomes a little disciplined. The Karma Kanda does that. When you've grown up and you realize, I'm more disciplined, I feel responsible for the other people around me, there comes part 2 now. Upasana Kand. That section of the Veda is all about focusing the mind totally and completely on some aspect of this universe. And by doing that, you gather the virtues of that. So you focus on the greatness of nature, and then you become great like that. There's another section of meditation in your own books. And then the part 3 now is the ultimate, is the best part. Part 3 is called Veda Anta. Say that? Veda Anta. It's 2 parts. And in Sanskrit, when you put the words together, they join. Veda Anta, Veda Anta, Veda Anta, Vedanta. The 2 A's join up and make a long A and becomes Vedanta. Vedanta means the end of the Veda. Anta. Like if you make pone, cassava pone, right? You go through all that work to get the Anta piece. You know the Anta is the best part? Crispy, sweet. I don't know if you, but most people like the edge piece from the cassava pone, right? The Anta is the supreme best part. All what you did was to get to that. So pone Anta is yummy and the best. Veda Anta is the best in the sense that now you can benefit from the final few steps in your journey, like that. Come close to the end of your journey when you reach Vedanta. Vedanta has another name, Upanishad. Upanishad. Vedanta is the philosophical portion of Hinduism. That's where all the ideas are kept. Based on that, everything will make sense, and based on that, we have a place for everybody in the universe. It's in Vedanta. Now, I said all of that because here in the next verse, Bhagavan has explained Tyag, spiritual practice, and now he's going to launch into a discussion straight from Vedanta. He's going to summarize that now, that teaching. So let us chant a little bit and see. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. So you chant, please. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Panchaitani Mahabaho Karanani Nibodha Me. Shri
Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Sankhye Kritantaye Proktani Siddhaye Sarva Karmana.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha pritak vidham.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Vividhascha pritak cheshtaha daivam chaivatra panchamam.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. So now, Bhagavan says, Mahabaho, O mighty Arjuna, he's going to give him some knowledge and he's reminding him of his strength. In other words, you're very mighty. Now take that mind which made you so mighty and apply it to what I'm about to tell you. This is something powerful I'm going to say. And Sankhye Kritante Proktani. This thing comes from Vedanta. Here Vedanta is called Kritante. That thing which is brings an end to all karma. It fulfills the reason why you were doing everything you were doing, which is to be happy. It fulfills everything. Huh? In other words, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is not saying, look, I'm going to tell you something that I know, a secret that I have. Bhagavan is so great. Even though he doesn't need to say the reference, he doesn't need to give reference. He's the Lord of the universe. He still says, I'm going to tell you something, and it's said there in Hindu scriptures. That's why he's Bhagavan. He's so humble like that. And he relies on the rishis. And he gives them their due place. Like that. What is that? I'm going to explain to you this Vedanta now. And he's going to do it, I think, in 5 verses. 5 or 6 verses. Which all come today. So you're getting this summary here of Upanishads. I don't know what great fortune this Mandir will have. So, now, just to see, sometimes you go to the doctor, right? And you say, Doc, I have eye pain. And I already asked Minani and Maaji, and they said, is because I just watch my screen too much, and I should just sleep and I don't need to go to the doctor. Well, you give it a check now. So doc checks up the old man and all, or the man, and he says, I have good news and bad news. It's not screen time. You can watch the screen. It's high blood pressure. So that's the bad news. Now, you might say, but what does high blood pressure have to do with eye pain? But he's a doctor, so he has studied the whole anatomy. And he knows that if you're getting this effect, well, by this is connected to that, this could be the cause. That's his job, no? To know anatomy and connect the two things. Correct or not? In the same way now, the rishis have studied the human dilemma of sorrow. But they studied the whole anatomy of the personality really well. And they're saying, if you find yourself, O seeker, in search of happiness, well, the problem lies inside. Something needs to be corrected inside. Now, you may not see the connection right now between your day-to-day sorrow and the solution that's being given here immediately, but there's a deep connection. And that will come out slowly. But you just trust the rishis, the doctors of joy and sorrow, and they will guide, right? So how they begin now? I'm going to tell you about 5 things involved in action. Okay, well that's easy. In school you learn all about 5 this, 10 that, you know. How many regions in Guyana? All right, 10. Right? You learn, you have to know, okay, this is Guyana, and have 10 regions. Like that. So now when you do action, there are 5 parts to that action. Okay. It's not so hard. You said Vedanta is such a big thing, a simple thing so far. Well, see the next verse now, right? Bhagavan starts slowly, innocently like that. Lord Krishna is like that, You're following him. He's telling you, you hear a story about him, and then all of a sudden he reveals Vishwarup in his mouth to Yashoda Maya, All of a sudden he twists on you and you remove some ignorance. So like that now, he said, now let me give you this list of 5. Adhishtanam, that means the body. See what's going on. In order for you to do anything, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is saying you have 5 elements. Now you check in your mind and see, maybe you find a 6th element. Right? You could teach me. So see, did he miss out anything? You need a body, number 1. Then, what is next? There has to be a karta, a doer. Somebody has to be, means to say, you have a body but you go to sleep. And you sleep in like that. You can do anything? No, only when you wake up, then the personality inside is there to do something. So that person who comes awake, he's the doer. He does action. While he's sleeping, he's not doing action. So part 2, some being inside to do. Right? Karanam cha pratak vidham. Then you need all your senses. Now, you may not have thought about it, but you need all your equipment. Like, I have speech, and I can walk and move my hands, and I can see. I have organs to perceive, and I have organs to do. So you need all that if you want to do an action. If, like, I don't know if it ever happened to you, I was a young boy, and you know when sleep goes in your eyes, and you wake up and you can't open your eyelid? It ever happened to you? When you're a child, it just happens. So that happened to me for the first time ever. And when I wake up, I think I'm blind. So I feel scared and I feel sad and I'm calling out for my mom. I can't see. So then she laughed and she brought water and wiped and said, no, look, it's just this thing called sleep. It has come out. I think she told me I shouldn't have been playing so much or this or that. That's not the reason, but she would have given some other reason also. You see? So, but if you don't have the sense of sight, then you can't do as much. You take away ears and you can't hear as much. Can't see, can't talk. So you need that also to do. Then, the different cheshta means the various physiological functions. In order to do, it's not enough just to have a body, but you have to have breathing in and out. Breathing has to be going on. Circulation, heart has to be pumping. Digestion has to be going on. Sweat has to be coming, evacuation. That whole physiological system is required also before you do something. If you're feeling low and tired and you have indigestion, you can't do anything. You sit in one place. Right? Or if the blood is low and all that. So, and then, how much we get now? Count with me. Body, 1. Right? Doer, 2. All my equipment that I use to do. Organs of perception, organs of action, 3. And finally, I listed also the physiological functions which give us energy to do, 4. And Bhagavan said how many? He gave one more, he calls it Daivam. Panchamam, that's the 5th one. Daivam. Now, what is Daivam? Daivam will mean like you need the environment to be conducive. You need destiny to be on your side. That kind of thing. That's what Daivam means in simple words. Daivam means, in classical words, you need the Devatas support. So I thought we might take a moment and think about this little bit, the role of Daivam. Now just see, first of all, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, the rishis of your tradition are the best at categorizing things. Breaking things up into pieces to study them. They're so good at it. I mean, when they break up something, you can't break it up any better, and they didn't leave out anything. So, telling you that now, let's see. This same list, you can apply it anywhere now. They did such a good job. If you start a business, I tell you need the same 5. Suppose you start a business. First thing you need is an office, an address. Correct? So that's like the body, step 1. Right? Then you need also to plug into the utilities. You need to have power, gas, whatever. Right? And you need workers to do stuff. Right? So that would be all the physiological functions. You have energy now. You have people. You have actual physical energy. So now you have an office and you have workers. Is it enough to run a business? No. You need equipment. You need a cash register if you're going to sell things. You need some production machinery to do the thing, to make the thing. You need the equipment. That's the hands and the legs and the eyes like that. Then if you have all of that, you're still missing something. You have no boss. There has to be that profit-maximizing boss who comes in and keeps everything going. Still, if you have these 4, you don't have everything. The government has to be on your side. And people tell me in Guyana that is especially true. I don't know if that's true or not, but the government has to, means to say, if the laws and the rules and the regulations change such that you're not allowed to sell this thing anymore, then you go out of business. Correct or not? The whole environment has to be set up nicely. If suddenly there's big inflation like there was in Venezuela, they go out of business again. anything can go wrong in the environment and the business. So the environment has to be conducive, correct or not? Somebody was just explaining to me yesterday. I was asking about the oil situation in Guyana. And they're in that industry. They were explaining to me, you better just give up trying to understand this thing. That was their advice. Why? Because there are many devatas, self-appointed portfolio holders. And they're invisible, just like devatas, you can't see them. I mean, one might be in charge of engineering, and one might be in charge of pipeline, and one might be in charge of distribution, and one might be in charge of extraction, and two people might be competing for that one, and one might be in charge of refine, and so many different people involved. Unless all these people get together and all agree that such and such should proceed, nothing's gonna proceed. All the big people with and you don't know who they are and what things. You just sit back as a normal person, you and I, and we can't know. That is an unseen realm of big portfolio holders. If they all agree, well, then things will move forward. And if one of them don't agree, well, things stop. And you and I just have to, correct or not? And so so we can understand human beings recreate on a micro level what's going on a macro level. I don't know if you've thought about it, but this is such a wonderful thing. The devatas that we have, Varuna, Agni, right, Vayu, and we're always worshipping them, calling their name, remembering them, right? What role they play in your life, really? If you are a modern educated student, you will suffer, and you come to Mandir also, I feel for you. You will suffer like anything. Because in school and modern science, let me tell you, is got a Christian bias. Science has a Christian bias. And bias is such you don't know when you have it. Meaning to say, the idea as far as I know, in Abrahamic traditions, is the world is not pervaded by a conscious being. The world is an inert thing over here. And if there's if there's like a rule here holding me down called gravity, well, that's just a rule of matter. There's no God or life or anything in that. And matter can have its own rules and all that. It doesn't need anything else. That is not a scientific assumption, you know. That's a religious assumption. Because you go back a little more in history and you meet those of the Vedic period, and they had a different assumption. That in order for there to be anything in the world, there has to be an intelligence behind. There has to be a being behind. Now, you all go to school here. We all learn science with a Christian bias. And then somebody tells you afterwards that in order for things to manifest in this world, it has to be pervaded by some being. You're saying, no. I had science class. I opened this. There's no being. So you learn that there. Then you come and hear the story of Prahlad. And Narasimha manifests from a pillar. A conscious being emerged from something inert. Now you're struggling to put the two together in your mind. So are you just left to believe one? What you don't know is that you are actually, science has no problem with Hinduism. Two different religious philosophies have met there in your mind that you didn't realize. That is what's going on. So if you're a Hindu, be a Hindu and study science. There's no problem. Now you just see this thing. What is the Hindu view? Is like this. This is the view of devatas. Everything in this world follows laws. A scientific student will accept. And what we have in this universe are so many phenomenal forces. Gravity is a force. We will say law of karma is also one of those laws. Right? So many forces are there. Correct or not? So far, so good? Right. Okay. Now, if a force is operating perfectly, ideally, and delivering to everybody intelligent results of their karma and all that. That can't happen automatically. That requires intelligence. That's what we say. And anyways, everything in this universe has manifested from an intelligent being, Bhagavan. So it's no surprise to us that there's intelligence in this world. We think along those lines. So what we simply say is every phenomenal force has a presiding deity. The law is set by Bhagavan, the phenomenal force is set by Bhagavan, and then the deity's job is to make sure things run as they're supposed to run. Like that. Now, a scientific student from the Christian side, they will struggle with that. I think we leave it here. This is one of my favorite topics, but finally it boils down like this. How this relates to karma, like this. If it were not for Surya Bhagavan, your eyes would not be able to see. If it were not for Varuna Devata, your tongue would not be able to taste. It means to say that for each... let me tell you one other thing. Are you following what I'm saying? Simple thing is like this, right? The phenomenal forces, which we all know of in the world. This is the answer to the Christian scientist, right? Your body is a product of nature or not? See, the bird, just yesterday we were watching Dr. Plants on YouTube. And he does make, I don't know if you've seen him, he does make a little ecosystem in a box. So he just put worms, and he's put ants, and he just put spider, and they attack each other, and then plants just grow, and he make an ecosystem, and he film it with the camera, and he give play-by-play, like you're watching cricket. You know, okay, now the ants have done this. Okay, now the spiders have come and they've taken, okay, now he just do that. So you get to see the whole ecosystem alive, right? Okay. So when you look outside and you say, okay, well, the plants are creating children, and the anteater, well, he is making children, and they're growing up. Then you're produced as a human being. You're just as much part of nature as the rest of the world, or not? This is just as much made of this exact same nature as the whole Amazon forest. Correct or not? Correct or not? All right. Now, your ability to see, when you wake up in the morning, you open your eyes every day and you can see. Your ability to see has come from nature just as much as your body has come from nature, or not? Where it has come from? Your ability to see. Did you make it? If you made it and you need glasses, well, you could fix that. You don't need glasses anymore. But you're not in control of your sight. Just like nature put a nose on your face, nature put eyes in your head. And the ability to see behind. The ability to taste. You got that from where? The same nature which gave you hair. You following me? The ability to hear. Right now you hear so many sounds. You hear my voice, you hear the fan. That's a gift from nature, correct or not? You didn't make that. So nature can make these physical things, and nature can give you these abilities to see and taste and close hand and open hand and all that. All of it is coming from nature. Right? The same nature that science says is inert, is dead, can't do nothing. But it can give sight. Think a little bit more now. Right? Oh, wow. Now, what we say is in simple words, that whole nature is presided over intelligently. And if it doesn't do what it has to do, I don't have these abilities to see and act and all that. And we leave it there. Because this is what's relevant to us here. In order to do karma, we need body, we need senses, we need physical energy, physiological functions, and we need nature to bless us with our abilities. Like that. Okay. Then Bhagavan said, what? What did he say now? Let us chant. He adds now. Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Shri Krishna Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Sharira Vangmanoritam, Sharira Vangmanobhiryat, Karma Prarabhate Naraha.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Nayam va viparitam va panchaite tasya hetavaha.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Tatraivam sati kartaram Atmanam kevalam tu yaha.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Pashyatya krita buddhitvat na sa pashyati durmatihi.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Yasya nahankrito bhavaha buddhiryasya na lipyate.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hatvapi sa imalokan nahanti na nibadhyate.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare.
Now, Bhagavan now adds an emphasis. What does he say? He says, these factors are required for every karma that you do. Every karma you do requires these 5. Now, you might be saying, okay, thank you very much. What else you have to say, Bhagavan? And to put it simply, whatever you do with your body, your speech, and your mind, anything that you do, it requires these 5 factors. Good or bad, just or unjust. Now, that's a simple line, but the other side of it is where it gets a little... See, if you're a lawyer and you're listening, you realize with every statement, Bhagavan's backing your ego into a corner. That's what's going on. One lawyer on his deathbed, right? He wasn't godly at all in his whole life. So on his deathbed now, another lawyer came to meet him. 2 buddies who used to meet in the courthouse and all that. He came with flowers and his sorry, I heard, things are not so good and all that. When he got there, the man was not at all sad or anything. He was just like he was at the office. But he didn't have a law book in front of him, he had the Bible. He furiously and violently, he's flipping through the pages like that. So the man said, you become religious at the end? He said, no man, I go find a loophole. You wait and see, I go find a loophole in this thing. And he's a lawyer, that's what he's doing now. So, Bhagavan is, when he says, everything you do requires these 5, the other side of that is nothing else in your personality does anything at all. If anything is done by you, it's done by these 5. Means you're going to want to claim you're great and you accomplish this in life and you accomplish that in life. But I said in statement 1, everything that comes out of you comes out of these 5. Where are you in that? This is the direction it's headed. But let Bhagavan do it himself, right? So he emphasizes that. Then he adds one more line now, right? This being the case, very much like law, tatraivam sati, this being the case, that everything that comes from you comes from these 5 factors. Your body has to be there, your senses have to be there, your physiological functions have to be there, the doer, karta, has to be there, and the environment has to be cooperative, then only something comes out of you. This being the case, right? Now see, now it suddenly got serious now. What is that? Kartaram matmanam kevalam tu. The self being a non-doer, kevalam. Now this is the first time this term has been coming up, non-doer and all that. We'll see in a moment, right? This being the case, the self being a non-doer, that person who thinks that they do things in this world, well, they do not see correctly. Their mind is not right. They have a poor intellect, durmatihi. And you know why they have a poor intellect? There's a perfect Guyanese phrase for this. The Sanskrit is akrita buddhitvat. And the Guyanese phrase for that is the mind na mek right. People who think that they do things in this world, that I accomplish this, I accomplish that, their mind na mek right. Why? Because first of all, they didn't do tyag. So they're attached and they're worried and they're anxious. But once they do the tyag also, they didn't learn this thing. They didn't study the Upanishads. Bhagavan considers somebody who spends time studying the scriptures deeply as somebody who's making their mind right, using their mind for what it was meant for. And if a person who hasn't done that, well, then mind na mek right yet. So they come to a wrong conclusion. To think that I am the doer, or you are the doer, I came and I read here today and you listen and all that kind of thing, is not the final truth about what's going on here right now. Like that. Oh, Bhagavan, really? See, he suddenly got very serious. He jumped to a really distant idea, very hard for us to grasp, right? Then he adds one more line to that, right? He tells about the person who mind mek right. What does he think? But that person who does not have a sense that I have accomplished this and I have accomplished that. He knows that it is all being done by nature, if you say. That person, his mind is not stained by anything, not bound, not affected. Or, in other words, even if he kills the whole world, he does not kill anybody and he does not get bound. What kind of strong language in Bhagavad Gita? You can kill the whole world and you wouldn't get bound? Hatvapi sa iman lokan. Having killed the whole world. Sa nahanti. He had not killed anybody. Nani badhyate. He had not been bound at all. Whoa. Now, why such strong language? Bhagavan not encouraging violence. He's talking to Arjuna, who has to go and fight and destroy. He is teaching Arjuna about that. And this type of language has come a little bit before in Bhagavad Gita also. It means to say, we always feel guilt, worry. I have done this, I have not done it properly. So we chant after every puja, Bhagavan, please forgive me. I put some chandan in your eye. And if you don't forgive me, well, I don't know what the result of that will be. I poke your eye too when I did it by accident. So we don't do things properly. So we're always worried about the negative results. But the person who has studied and learned properly the truth about this universe, they're totally free from anything. It means to say like this. Please understand it correctly. If a person wants to say, no, I only take this second half. I can go and kill. Nothing will happen to me. Well, you have to be ready when they catch you and they go to hang you. You better also say, well, nobody killed and nobody's being hanged also. You better be able to say that. Means you better understand this thing properly. If you can't say that, then don't say at all. Anyways, people who really realize these things, great Mahatmas or great Swamijis, you never hear them say, okay, today I'm eating a mango. But I'm not eating the mango, Prakriti's gunas are eating the mango, and I am the untouched, all-pervasive reality. No realized person has ever uttered such words. They think that in their mind, but they just talk like normal people. So the truth of the matter is, if you want freedom from any type of action, you have to get this knowledge, right? This is what is being given there, quite literally. Now, what is relevant for us? One day we will come to understand this thing, and as a result, we will be freed from any type of sorrow. The freedom is total and from every side. But the practice is to, as I said, tyag. And what is relevant to all of us here, because everybody here is a parent or a grandparent, is our whole life in Guyana is dedicated to lifting the next generation, right? When you go out and you raise the children and you educate them and all that, you know you're on the path of spirituality if you do not entertain in your mind, this child is going to make me look good. Let's come back down to the practical. Where the tyag, it doesn't matter. Means to say, many parents are concerned about how the child will be because it reflects on them. If they look good, it reflects well on them and they get social mileage. If they don't look good, it doesn't reflect well on them and they lose social mileage. Correct? Now, that means somewhere in the mind, I'm looking for a feedback, a result, a dividend from my parenting. That's not correct parenting. Correct parenting would be, I'm showering these children with every good possible thing I can. So something takes root. So they grow up to be boons to society. I don't want anything from them. It's not that they should grow up and take care of me also. Bhagavan has sent his child to my home, not my child to my home. He sent his child in my trust for 15 or 20 years. I'll take care of that child and send it back to Bhagavan. Like that. That is the attitude behind parenting. If you forget that attitude, you please watch Mother India again. She's called not mother of the family, Mother India. Because she understood that. She had to stand there and shoot her own son. Remember that scene? That this fella gone on the wrong side. But if she succumbs to the same issue as Arjuna, but these are my people, and how it go look, or what I go lose, then she wouldn't have practiced proper tyag. The whole thing is centered around that. And what we're talking about here, tyag, sannyas born of knowledge will come on its own. Okay, Arjuna, are you ready to fight? Huh? What is that? What? I thought you were giving philosophical discourse. I thought I had some more time. No, man, in the beginning of this Bhagavad Gita, you dropped your bow. Pick it up now. String it. Take out your biggest, baddest arrow. Point it at your guru, Dronacharya, and swipe off his head. Then take another one without hesitating and pierce the heart of Bhishma. Shoot your grandfather now. You know what? Bhagavan, keep talking about sannyas. You know, I like this high discourse. I think I need some more of that. I'm not ready for this. But remember, so that was the challenge he was facing. And we feel for Arjuna. No, how you gonna ask you to do that? But here now, suppose you're driving along the road and the person behind you is honking and speeding and driving on the wrong side, and he nearly knocked down a sheep, and he nearly hit your car, and he speed in front of you like that, right? So he's reckless. And at that point, sometimes the police officers walk into the middle of the road and he point. He say, you, stop. Over to the side. So they pull over that fella. And sometimes, just for spite, the next car also, you also, you didn't do anything. You also got to go to the side. You seen that? So then the police officer comes to you and is upset, and he's writing you a ticket for no reason, and this, that. Then he goes to the other car. And you waited to see what they're going to get. If you get a ticket, they're going to be impounded on the spot. What do you see? You see that police officer laughing, giving here what you call? A high five, low five, yeah man, and he gone. You go like that? You know what happened there, isn't it? Well, that was his ride-in buddy, partner from long time. I mean, he helped him out so many scrapes, helped him pass his test, helped him on this date, that day, whole life. He can't give you a ticket now. And poor guy, he could think, poor guy, he's late to take his child for lesson and all that. I go see he this afternoon. How I go give you a ticket? You want a police officer like that? No, say it confidently. No way. While you're wearing that uniform, you have to stick to your duty. If it so happens that it is your guru in that car, ticket. We have one police officer in our Chinmay mission, and his guru really is our Puja Swami Prakashanandaji, and fortunately he never had to pull over because he would have to give him ticket. That's what you prefer or not? But from the point of view of the police officer, his heart burns to do the right thing. Correct? But he has to. So Arjuna, you have to fight. And Lord Krishna taught him throughout Gita, don't worry, this is all karma working itself out. These are people who are already dead in my vision, first of all. Second of all, you're on the side of dharma, you're going to Swarga. Right? Third of all, these people have never not existed, and they will never in the future not exist. They have always been here, these kings. Nothing going to happen. It's just your heart that is at stake. Nothing's going to happen. You just fight and stick to the right thing, and you will grow in life. And I'll show you in my vision how everything looks. They're already dead and you've already won. Now you just fight. Come out of this smallness and selfishness and fight for the great thing. And he taught him for 18 chapters. You ready to pick up the bow? No, Bhagavan, I want to hear a little bit more about this sannyas. Okay, Arjuna. Let me tell you a little bit more about this sannyas, right? In Vedanta, let us chant these last two verses here. Jnanam jneyam parijñāta trividha karma chodana.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Karanam karma karoti trividha karma sangraha.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna
कर्म च कर्ता च त्रिधैव गुणभेदतः प्रोच्यते गुणसंख्याने यथावत् शृणुतान्यपि श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय. Okay. A little bit of this Vedantic philosophy and more. In simple terms now, Bhagavan is trying to see, the rishis use, like our Puja Gurudev brought so many wonderful examples using modern day technology for us to understand this deep philosophy, right? The rishis are trying to point out that every human being is a mixture of something that is changing and something that is not changing. Something that is material and something that is not material. Consciousness. And if you look up now and see these lights here in the satsang hall, you can get a very good idea of what the rishis mean. See the light. Inside that light casing, there's a light bulb, right? The light bulb, when you unscrew it and hold it, what do you have in your hand? Or you have some silica, which sand, which became the glass, and you have some tungsten metal, I think, which becomes the filament, and some other metal that forms the screw part. So you have some stuff, inert stuff, and it changes. It will wear out, it will rust, and it will dissolve one day. So that is the bulb. It has any light of its own? No. No light of its own. Okay. Then, the other thing you have is the electricity in the wire. When the two come together, then you get the light. Correct? So when you look at the light bulb right now, you're looking at a mixture of two things. Electricity, which is not visible, not tangible, you don't know where it is, right? Or you know it's in the wire, but actually it's everywhere. When they have lightning and all that, that tells you there's electric charge in the air. Electricity is everywhere. Okay. So you have these two coming together, then you only get the bright light. So the rishis analyze that kind of thing to give us an example of what is going on in our heart. Two factors. One of them visible. That's the one we pay attention to. One of them invisible, electricity. Now analyze with me a little bit more, right? See if this makes sense. The electricity is not a part of the bulb. It's not a product of the bulb. It's not a property of the bulb. The electricity didn't come from the bulb at all, correct? Electricity is something else. Correct or not? Okay. Now, the electricity pervades the whole bulb. When you plug it in, the light is coming through the whole bulb, correct? But the electricity goes beyond the bulb also. It's all in the wires, it's in the air, it's everywhere. Correct or not? The electricity is everywhere, but the bulb is only in one place. Okay. So, the electricity is not limited by the boundaries of the bulb. But it does make something special, it makes light. Correct? When you plug it in. Okay. If you break the bulb, electricity gets broken? No. If you turn off the electricity and you have a perfect bulb, there's no light. If you break the bulb, you can put a new bulb and you'll get light again. But if you have a string of perfect bulbs and you take away electricity, you can get light? No. So electricity is independent. Break as many bulbs as you want, put a next one, I'll shine just like normal. Correct? But take the electricity away, you can have 100 perfect bulbs, you'll get no light. In the same way is your relationship with God. See this thing. The life in you is like the light in the bulb. This matter body of you is like the inert outside bulb. When you're plugged in, as it were, to consciousness, to Paramatma, right? Then life appears. I'm moving, I'm talking. That's not inside the body, that's coming from the mixture of the two. Now, see this thing. Where is that life, that Paramatma? They say he's all pervasive. Just like electricity is all pervasive. When the body gets destroyed, like when the bulb gets destroyed, anything happens to electricity? Nothing happens to electricity. You make a new body and you fill it, you make the two connect, you get the same life again. So, this type of relationship is slowly reflected on in the Upanishads. And the question is asked, in all of that, where are you now? Where is Panditji in all of that? Where is Auntie in all of that? Where is Uncle in all of that? Are you on the bulb side? Or are you on the electricity side? Are you in the body side or are you in the Paramatma side? Right now what we feel is I am a body and maybe there's a little life inside. A little Bhagavan somewhere. That's like saying I'm the bulb and there's a little electricity inside me somewhere. And if the bulb breaks, I break. But the truth is opposite. You are the life itself. And this is like an incidental body that you have. If it goes, nothing happens to you. The truth is opposite. This is the Vedanta, what it is teaching. So, now in these two verses which we just chanted, Bhagavan is now, what he's doing is he's going into it again. He's going to analyze it again from a different way. The same Vedanta talks about, now to understand this, I was thinking, it's not so hard to understand. Lists are given again. Before a list of 5, now a list of 6. How to understand this? We want to study action and figure out in the action, where am I? How much do I do and how much is nature doing? So you want to take an action and study it well. So I was thinking, well, take cricket action. Just let's study cricket. So you grab your favorite player, maybe Brian Lara, maybe Sachin Tendulkar, maybe Shiv Narayan Chandrapal, and you picture maybe yourself, and you picture that cricketer there, right? So Bhagavan says, okay, leave this one analysis, we'll take a next analysis now, right? Oh Arjuna, I'm going to study karma again for you, and when I'm done studying this thing, your ego will disappear. All that will remain is me, the reality, like that. So study slowly and go, right? Bhagavan says, now the Rishis, like I said, the Rishis are good at breaking things up. If you want to study a batsman, the Rishis say, okay, well, there's 6 things you have to study. Suppose we take Brian Lara, for instance. You want to take Brian Lara or Sachin Tendulkar? They say Brian Lara. We take Brian Lara, the man. So if you're going to study him, well, you have him. That's number 1. Then you have all his knowledge of cricket. That's number 2. Then you have his mind, because according to them, each cricketer has something in their mind about what they're going to do and how much effort they're going to put and their whole attitude and all that. So that's him. What's left? In Sanskrit words, knower, known, and knowing. These 3. There's nothing else to study in him. These 3. Then you add 3 more, Bhagavan says. Then he put on his outfit and his uniform and he walk out to the pitch and you get a next 3. When that Brian Lara, with that mind and that knowledge about cricket goes out and he puts on all his gear, so you have to add his gears now. So he has all his equipment. Okay, that's number 4, right? Then he's now a batsman of a certain height, left hand or right hand, and with a preference and a stance. So the batsman, you have to add that, the karta. And finally, he has his batting 6. So you get these 6 things to study. In other words, you have knower, known, and knowing. And you have doer, equipment, and doing. You have these 3. And you put it all together, you get 6. So Bhagavan says, we'll study these 6. In fact, I feel 6 is a lot, Let me summarize, get it down to 3 for you. So then the last verse he chanted, would make that 6 into 3 for our purposes. How is that? See again. We are not interested in studying cricket. We're interested in studying action. So let's remove all the idea of the pads and the bat and knowledge about cricket, right? So you remove Nyayam, it's called, and you remove Karanam. We're not going to study that. We just want to study now Brian Lara, the doer. So what you left with? Brian Lara, the batsman, the knowledge he has of cricket, and his actual batting. If you take that and study it, Bhagavan says, actually you only have 3 there because Brian Lara and the batsman is 1. The knower and the doer is 1. So you're left with 3. So he says, Jnanam, Karma, and Karta. These 3 I'm going to study with you, Arjuna, and I'm going to tell you about their gunas. Now, I'm going to tell you about how it is like this. Throughout the Vedantic scriptures, whenever we study nature, because we're studying subtle things like the mind, the personality, sometimes we get confused where nature stops and where I begin. So what the rishis say is, if it has any sattva, rajas, or tamas in it, you know it belongs to nature. Like that. Just like, suppose you have lasagna and macaroni and roti and bread. All here. What is it? Lasagna pasta, macaroni pasta, roti, and bread. And you're a little confused. Is this thing made of flour or not? Which one is gluten-free? So then you say, well, if it has the sign of flour in it, because if something made of flour, it has some kind of sign that it came from flour, right? Once you cook it or you taste it, if it tastes like flour, if it looks like flour, it comes from flour. Correct? You understand what I mean to say? Means if I make a murti of concrete and I make a weapon of concrete and you want to know, you made such a nice weapon, is that made of wood or is that made of concrete? You made it such a nice murti, is that made of wood or is that made of concrete? If you check carefully, it should be hard like concrete. You could taste it, it should taste like concrete. Smell it, it should smell like concrete. If you look carefully, you will find out, this is concrete. So Bhagavan is taking it from a different angle now. Take any action, even the batting, the doer who's batting, and all his knowledge, and you study that. I'm going to study that with you hand in hand, Arjuna. I'm going to show you. In that, you're going to find sattva, rajas, and tamas only. And that means, if you find sattva, rajas, and tamas, it means you're talking about nature. My point to you, Arjuna, is nature does everything. And you, the reality, are free and all-pervasive, and you don't do. You make everything happen. And when you realize that for yourself, you become mukta. This is what Vedanta is talking about. So Bhagavan is setting up the stage again. Then after he takes this topic, he'll switch back to a different topic in chapter 18 and summarize. All right. So today we saw a whole set of verses on Vedanta, and if your head didn't crack with all this knowledge, then you're good, man, you're good. And if your head crack, well, there's room for more, so you're also good. Right? A few moments now I'd take just to give a few announcements. Chinmay Mission has its final night. Tonight is night 95. 96, thank you. Tonight is night 96. So just around the corner, in May, on Saturday, May 3rd, the very first Saturday in May, which is a holiday weekend, we have the last night at a big cricket ground in town. There's going to be a grand event with a huge tent and food for everybody and presents for all the families that come. So everybody here is invited to come. At 4:30 p.m. the program will start, and Swamiji himself will giving the last pravachan of this historic 108 nights starting at 5. And the program will conclude promptly at 6:30, so you can have food and come back in time. So please come out. The event is for everybody to enjoy, right? That is at the Gandhi Youth Cricket Ground, Saturday, May 3rd at 5 p.m. Everybody's invited. Next announcement, Chinmay Mission, if you check on Facebook, has a whole set of classes. So if you're interested in anything like that, you can find the details online. It includes things like Pandit course. We're starting a course for the next generation to learn to chant all the Vedic mantras and the stotrams and puja mantras, shlokas properly, right? So you can join that if it's of your interest. But the highlight is the 2-year Vedanta course. In Chinmay Mission, if you're going to be doing this sort of work of teaching, or you just want to go and study the scriptures properly, fundamentally, in the Sanskrit medium, you have a passion for that, then you can apply for the Vedanta course. It is an intensive 2-year residential study at an ashram. Classes start at 5:30 in the morning, and they go until this time at night, every day, without holidays, without weekends, without visits home, without phone, without internet, all that. You go and you dedicate yourself to this type of study. And for people who are interested in this type of thing, it's life transforming. And afterwards, if you survive, then you can take to the path of brahmacharya, sannyas, teaching, or go back to your normal daily life and all of that, right? So this is called the Vedanta course, and it used to only be that you had to go to India to get that course. So many people had traveled to India and all that. But of late, and not that it happens all the time, the course is also available now in Trinidad. So on October 2nd, a new batch of that course will start for 2 years. So please spread the word. If the person has to be 30 years and younger, have a university degree, and be unmarried to be qualified for that course. They just apply online. And if you're not meeting those requirements, then we have other classes, and you might pass it on to somebody else who might want to learn and then come back to Guyana and do this type of work. Okay. Tomorrow, satsang is at Little Bayabu. You ever hear that village name? Yeah, Little Bayabu, Mahaika River at 7 p.m. That is where satsang is. So it's a 1-day break from West Coast, and then we're back on the West Coast to finish all the nights. All right. So my pranams and thank you to Panditji and the whole executive team here today who's organized. And it was a wonderful, it's great to be here. And we really felt the warmth, and we really felt encouraged by you organizing this satsang in this way. So thank you so much. And now we'll have Aarti and then closing. Is that okay?
Thank you very much, dear Devji, for that wonderful discussion tonight from the Bhagavad Gita. And definitely you have done great justice to the scripture again. What I love is the way you interact. You know, you have put the scripture into different perspective, so each and every one of us could digest directly what you have just said. And you know, in this age of the young generation, that is the way to go. So I must compliment you for the great job you're doing, and continue on to the same path. And definitely with this 108 Yajna of the Bhagavad Gita, definitely your input, you would leave that residue across Guyana, that each and every one of us would grab something from what you have just said. So once again, thank you, and let me on behalf of the executive and members of the Radha Krishna Mandir of Windsor Forest extend their gratitude and thanks, and they're very fortunate to have you here with them, and you know, to do a wonderful pravachan. I like to also extend our gratitude and thanks to Pandit Avishkar, to Pandit Krishna, Kafita ji and the kids, to Pandit Rishi, to to Pandita Dhanraji and members of the Windsor Forest Arya Samaj, to members of the Uma Maheshwar Mandir, and not forgetting Gina Ji. She's very much eloquent. You must tune in to their Facebook page and you will see some of her presentation too. Unfortunately, we didn't have her here tonight, but definitely she inspired all of us too. And I want to compliment her for the job she's doing and, you know, continue on that great path. Devotees all, shall we now stand for the arati? Leading us would be Dev Ji.
जय भगवद गीते मय जय भगवद गीते हरिः कमल विहारिणि हरिः कमल विहारिणि सुंदर सुपुनीते ओम जय भगवद गीते कर्म सुमर्म प्रकाशिनी कामासक्ति हरा
मया कामासक्ति हरा
तत्त्वज्ञान विकाशिनी
तत्त्वज्ञान विकासिनी
विद्या ब्रह्म परा ओम जय भगवद गीते निश्चल भक्ति विदायिनी निर्मल मलहारी
मया निर्मल मलहारी
शरण रहस्य प्रदायिनी
शरण रहस्य प्रदायिनी
सब विधि सुखकारी ओम जय भगवद गीते राग द्वेष वितारिणी कारिणी मोद सदा
मया कारिणी मोद सदा
भव भयहारिणी तारिणी
भवभयहारिणी तारिणी
परमानंद प्रदा ओम जय भगवद गीते आसुर भाव विनाशिनी नाशिनी तमरजनी
मया नाशिनी तमरजनी
दैवी सद्गुणदायिनी
देवी सद्गुणदायिनी
हरिरसिका सजनी ओम जय भगवद गीते समता त्याग सिकावनी हरिमुख की बानी
मया हरिमुख की बानी
सकल शास्त्र की स्वामिनी
सकल शास्त्र की स्वामिनी
श्रुतियों की रानी ओम जय भगवद गीते दया सुधा बरसावनी मातु कृपा की जय
मया मातु कृपा की जय
हरिपद प्रेम दान कर
हरिपद प्रेम दान कर
अपनो कर ली जय ओम जय भगवद गीते जय भगवद गीते मय जय भगवद गीते हरिः कमल विहारिणि हरिः कमल विहारिणि सुंदर सुपुनीते ओम जय भगवद गीते ओम जय भगवद गीते
ओम जय भगवद गीते
मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुडध्वजः मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्षं मङ्गलायतनो हरिः त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ श्री कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की हर हर नम पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव ओम तत्सत्।